right. Well, I don't think we could have started a podcast called Success Formula and not have this man here, Wes Watson, on.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Success is so subjective. Like, we're in Miami right here, and every fucking buddy, we were just talking, everybody has a supercar, everyone has a Rolls Royce. It looks a certain way, but I always have a different real definition of success, and that's what we're gonna drop for everyone today.
So 2 reasons I wanted to have you on. One, fitness has been a big part of my life, and business. And I truly think that you believe in both of those. And so I want to take it back all the way to before you went to prison, and then what actions landed you there, and then how did you make it through that, and so on. When you got out, how'd you start your business?
Well, first off, he said fitness and business. And I mean, the biggest thing I want to tell people is you need to create the businessman before you apply the business plan. So I was already so deep into personal development when I started my business when I got out of prison. So I had worked on myself for fucking 10 years in prison. When I got out of the penitentiary, I was developed so much as an individual, there was no way I wouldn't be good at anything I did. I always tell people, like, you suck at being you, motherfucker. You're not gonna be good at anything. And they're like, what do you mean I suck at being me? I'm like, what do you mean? You don't understand? And they're like, no, like, you don't even know me. How are you gonna say I suck at being me? I'm like, I can look at you right now and realize that you do not hold your word to yourself. That is my definition of someone who's good at being them. They hold their word to themselves. And if you look at an individual, you could say, is that intentional or circumstantial? And so, is that an intentional individual? Did that person make direct commitments to themselves, follow through, and get their desired result? And so this is where everything starts. If you can't hold your word to yourself on the shit you want to do, how the fuck are you going to be a good doctor, a good father, a good husband, a good fucking influencer online, a good CEO, good at real estate? You're not gonna be good at anything if you're not good at you being you first. And that's why I trip on people who think they're gonna just find some hack or some fucking blueprint and apply it if they're not fully developed as an individual.
So I have a question. You mentioned that you worked on yourself while you were in prison. Were you always like this? Were you always energetic? Were you always like, boom, boom, boom to your plan? Or before prison, were you a completely different person?
I mean, I was a drug dealer. I've never had a job. So I mean, at 11, I started selling weed. Mm-hmm. And I came back with $100. I hid the $100 from my grandma. Like my mom gave me $100 to go on a trip with my grandma.
Sound familiar?
Yeah, and I hid the fucking $100. I'm like, I lost it. Like, I wasn't saying I had good morals back then, but I lost it. I had a plan.
But you always had the hustle, though.
I had a plan, and I would stick to it. So I was like, I lost the $100, and most people would just go spend the $100. They're 11 years old, not me. I lost it, and I fucking went on the whole trip without. Came back, bought a 1/4 ounce of weed, flipped that into $140, flipped it again till I started buying ounces and half pounds and stuff like that, to where, like, years later, I'm 17, 18, I'm getting 100, 150, 200, 250 pounds at a time. And this is from like 11 years old to like 20 years old. I mean, when I was 16, I went and bought a Chevy Z71 lifted Silverado LT cash. On my 16th birthday, I was
that
like—
was my first car too.
Oh yeah, I went in and bought the
dream car.
Literally, at that time, that was the car.
Yep.
Like the lifted LT
with the
Silverado with the custom grill, with the system, with the TVs.
I thought that was just Houston.
No, that was California too. And I bought that at 16. I had it for like 6 months, and then I bought a Cadillac Escalade. That was like what all the rappers
Man, those
drove.
that first came out, man, you were hot if you had one of those.
Dude, it was like when 50 Cent had one, I had one. I was in fucking high school. But the whole thing is, what I'm saying is, I always had a plan, and I stuck to it regardless. And there was always sacrifices to be made, because you're 11, you're on a trip, you only got $100. There's little shit you want to buy. Most 11-year-olds would be like, oh, I really need that candy right now. But even at 11, I'm like, nope, going back and buying some weed and making money.
It always felt better to me to have the cash in my bank account. I was the same way doing garage sales at 8 years old. I so much would have rather had the money than to spend it, because I knew I had to have money to make more money.
I just had hustler's mentality. I had to re-up.
So then you do this, you say you're 20 years old. What happened at 20 years old? Why did you cap it there? Is that when you got in trouble?
From like 20 to 25 is when— what do you think happened? I started going to the clubs and partying. Mm-hmm. And I had been doing cocaine and drinking and doing everything like that since 14 to about 20. But then 20, I had like an ID by then. I was going to these clubs, and now we're popping bottles of Cristal. We're drinking Grey Goose. We're spending $5,000 a night at the club, and we're doing a bunch of coke. We're staying up. I have a condo downtown San Diego. I have like a little mini mansion in Encinitas. I'm going back and forth. and we're pushing weight at the time. And, you know, I had got a sales charge when I was like 22. I had like 20 pounds on me. Someone set me up, and I just ended up doing like a work furlough for that because it was nonviolent. So they, you know, I got busted for like 2 weeks, and then they let me out
What do you
on
mean a work furlough?
like a
community
called
service?
CWP, like county work program.
Okay.
So if there's nothing violent, they let you out. It's just like 20 pounds of weed.
Yeah.
So they let you out on like a year work program where I had to drive from downtown San Diego to Orange County every day to work for free at some fucking park. Like I should have just stayed in fucking jail. This is hell. But I wanted to be out. It was cool. I was just fucking rolling back and forth. Made some good connects, and then the people in Orange County that were at the program, I started selling more weed with. I was just a fucking idiot. But the thing was, is by the time I was 25, I had been getting more violent. I had been getting more higher up in my game, and you know, I wasn't touching any of the work anymore. I wasn't moving any of it. And some kids fronted some guy, and the guy wouldn't pay the kids back, and the guy told the kids like, "Nah, fuck your dude," you know, like he could fucking wait for his money or whatever. And they're like, "Don't say that. Like this dude's gonna fucking kill you," you know. And then, well, one thing led to another. The guy gets fucking his shit handed to him. He goes and cries like a bitch, and like it gets on the stand and starts fucking saying he's such a fucking victim and all this shit when he's in the drug game, you know. Like he knew what the fuck he was up to. And I got sentenced, and I ended up doing 10 years in prison.
Which is so frustrating now because it's like basically legal at this point.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
we're so
it
close.
wasn't legal
but
for me to murder this fool, you know? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I literally squished his face on the fucking floor and just fucking left him for dead, you know? But I've never even really admitted that, so I don't give a fuck anyways. I already did the time. But I ended up going to trial, and I just pled the fifth. I didn't say shit. And a lot of people online try to read my case and talk shit. They're like, it says you beat up this guy for 5 pounds of swag weed, and they're like, so they try to like lower my case, like they talk like I'm not like who I say I am. I'm like, you realize that's his testimony, right?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
fucking bitch. I'm like, I didn't fucking say nothing. You don't know the real story. Real story was a hella weight. It was 50 fucking pounds. The real story was the motherfucker got his shit handed to him till he was this close from the edge of his life. I don't know how the fuck he lived is the thing. But, you know, a lot of people don't, they don't understand. Like they think they mistake my reflection for glorification. But I'm trying to tell you, if you're someone like me, who's like that, who's a really aggressive person, who's a fucking someone who's been in a different type of lifestyle, like the shadier part of life, that there's a way to come back. And that's who my story's for. My story ain't for squares who want to judge me and talk about who I was in the past. And because in all reality, I think those people love my story. They just wish they had one. I think they're just fucking liars. And they're like, you're such a bad guy, but really every guy wants to be a bad motherfucker.
It doesn't really matter what you do. They're always going to fucking judge. They're always going to talk shit. They're always going to sit on their mom's couch and try to put their hate on you to make themselves feel better. We all know this.
I interviewed a guy named Eric, which is my friend now. He's in Dallas. He was
Very
in prison
similar
for 6
story.
years.
Yeah.
Similar story. He got out, owns a multi-million-dollar construction company, but he told me when he was in there,
Mm-hmm.
the first year, he was sitting there contemplating how to do more illegal shit. I mean, every day he's in there.
Because he
And
was in
said it
for
took him
5,
about
7
2
years or
He
something,
picked
yeah.
up a self-help book. He said they were on lockdown for months there, and so he started reading. And finally, it took him like 2 years before he was like, I got to change myself. And then when I
Yeah.
come out, I'm a kill
If I
this
put this
shit.
much effort into something, why not do
he's
something
like,
legal
why am I
that can
gonna
make
go?
just as much money? Yeah.
I can't advertise if I'm doing something illegal. I can't do anything. And he goes, so when I got out, all those books, I turned into a new person, and now he kills it in the construction game.
See-
how were you in there, and then you for years, and then you were like,
Were you thinking
about,
you'd come back out and do the same thing
Yeah,
again?
I had to I had to make it work. So in prison, if you go on my Instagram, you scroll down Watson_fit, you'll see that I was taking photos on my Instagram the whole time.
Okay, that I thought was interesting because I was stalking just so I could learn more about you. I had no idea that you could have phones in prison.
We can't have them. I would fucking make moves, you know. So the whole time I had phones the whole time, and that's someone who's pulling strings, you know. So people are like he wasn't a shot caller. Scroll down my page, motherfucker. I had phones the whole damn time.
I saw pictures of you in there.
The
working out,
whole
yeah.
time I had phones. They're like, why were you in a dorm? I'm like, at that time in Cali, when you drop points, people had 15 years in a dorm. So, I mean, I start off on a level 4. Then in the first year, I dropped down to a level 3. They sent me out of state. I got in trouble, caught a shoe term, came back to California. And by that time, the point system has changed. I dropped points. I'm at a level 2. I'm in a dorm. And I end up doing like the last 4 years of my term in a dorm. And the thing is,
And what does that mean? It's just like a group
it's
type
like a
atmosphere
one big
instead
building
of a.
instead of a cell living.
Okay.
So the
Oh,
first
okay.
half of my prison term, I'm in cells, and then the second half, I'm in dorms, which is standard. You drop
Yeah.
points. You're not trying to get in more trouble.
I was about to say, I was like, how did you make it, having that more aggressive behavior, like, fuck you, motherfucker? How did you go to jail and not fight and get.
Oh, I got in fights all the time, but you just wouldn't necessarily get caught all the time. I got caught for an in-house manufactured weapon where I used a weapon on someone, and I ended up getting an A1 115, which is like the highest form of battery in prison. It was attempted murder, and assault with an inmate manufactured weapon. And that's an A1 115. It carries with it 14 months in the shoe, where you do 11 months, 8 days, which is 85% for a violent crime. That's a whole nother charge. And I got that charge in prison, and I had to wait for the DA to pick it up or not. I thought my life was over. The captains tell me he saw the pics and I'm fucked. And I'm like, God, man, I did it again. What the fuck? And, I'm in the shoe, and I get the phone fished over from my neighbor, this kid Guilty from El Monte Flores. It's like a LA gang that runs kind of the back in prison. And back means like this segregated housing. And I fished the phone over. He has like a blue Samsung flip phone, and the door is like really small. And you fishing it means I slide out like a piece of a shower shoe or like a soap container. And I fish my line out. He fishes his out. I pull his in, and he's got the phone on the other end, and I keep pulling it, and it comes in through like a vanilla envelope. And since the phone's open, it's like small enough to come under the door like this. And I called my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I fucked up. I caught a shoe term. You may never talk to me again. I'm probably going to get life in prison. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, the pictures are bad. The shit looks bad. And she said like the most profound shit. Like, my mom's gangster. I don't even know why I can never not say this without choking up. But she said, Wes, your whole life you've proven you could hurt people. Like, can you prove you can't? And like, that changed my life so much, because I'm a competitive guy. And like, that was a competition.
Like, it's not getting you where you want to be.
Yeah, that was a
competition
competition with myself that I could prove that I could be better. And that shifted my whole mindset. Because then I was like, when I got to the street, I'm like, can I prove that I could beat everybody legally? Could I prove that I could not hurt anybody? Like, and I've been losing that a little bit lately. I wish I would reflect on this more. So these podcasts really help me as well.
It's like therapy for us all and everyone watching who's been there before too.
It's so good, because I want you guys to take that with you, because when something's going awry and it's a situation you may react to, opposed to reacting, learning to respond is so much better. And my response is always aligned with like these gems that I pitch everybody. So I always tell people, like, release the energy you wish to possess, and become the source of what you seek, and purpose over pleasure. I tell them all this stuff, and these gems are supposed to be like the fail safes that stop you when you're about to make wrong decisions. And, this was a time in my life where I had made a wrong decision again. And my mom made it so clear and so simple, like, to make it a competition with myself. Because a lot of people will opt out. They'll be like, well, I'm hungry. I worked out. I should be able to eat that. It's like, well, no, can you prove to yourself you're not a bitch and you can not eat the fucking snacks at the end of the day? Like, it's always like a proving to myself that I'm worth it was something that really did it for me. It made me able to like stay strong while monotasking throughout my day, which was like every small step that was creating the life that I show everyone today on my Instagram and on my YouTube. I made that life through daily small wins that gave me self-worth. And then that worth made me feel like I was worth everything because I did so much work. So I'm always teaching people that it's the mindset shift first that needs to take place before you're ever even able to apply a certain blueprint that someone like me would teach you.
Well, it's almost impossible for so many people to have that kind of dedication. Sean is like that too. He can work out, 7 days a week, never get tired of it. Motherfucker hasn't had sugar or dessert in like 8 years.
That's crazy.
He does not have a cheat meal. Crazy. I'm over here like, give me the fucking goldfish crackers.
I'm on the Hormozy fucking plan, like never skip dessert. Yeah. But like I track my macros, so it's like I eat a certain way. Yeah, I eat a certain way to where I'm kind of fasted all day, just proteins. And then at the end of the day, I'll have like one meal I like. And I don't say people should eat that way. People should eat balanced macronutrients that fit their goals. But that's the way I've just been eating to stay lean and stay pretty secure.
Mine was more, so when I was 18, of course, you just want to look good. So started lifting weights in, but as I got in my late 20s, Always had a ton of anxiety and a bunch of other issues, but working out solved all that. Eating better and eating healthy.
That's what I tell these motherfuckers. I'm like, it's called working out for a reason. You go to the gym and you work out the problems you have inside. You work them out of you.
I had to wake up early and start at 5 before I did anything
he
else in
hasn't
my
worked
day.
out. In 2 days, you feel like a big fucking loser because you haven't worked out in 2 days over here.
It's more mental than it is physical.
Well, I would always at least do the push-ups, the burpees, or the body weight shit. Like, wear the fuck out of myself.
So for someone who has a really hard time, like finding that dedication in their soul, what do you recommend for them to do to get there? Because going from where you were at, like fighting, you could not control, and that was a weakness of yours. You couldn't control the anger,
I still have trouble.
right?
Yeah, I still have trouble.
But the definition of insanity, as we know, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, right? You weren't getting a different result. You were getting the same result over and over, and it was compounding. And like you said, your life was so close to being over at that point. How do you tell somebody who has really lax motivation, like me, to get up and go to the gym? I mean, Sean has been my motivation to finally start doing 2 days of Pilates, which is a big deal for me, but most people can't even scrummage that up to stay consistent for more than 2 or 3 days in the gym.
Well, my biggest thing is like yesterday's wins aren't today's wins. And the win is the internal state. Because he said at first it was about looking good, but then it was about conquering his anxiety and anything mental that was an issue for him. So, I mean, I really think that those problems are not problems. They're notifications. So the anxiety he has when he doesn't work out is a notification to stay on path.
Yeah.
So you could just say that's God talking to you. And I like to say your conscience is the authentic voice of God. So I mean, any negative internal notification is a push to get right back on the path. It's course correction. So now you feel that voice inside, you hear it, and that's God telling you, hey, Sean, like you got to go work out, bro. He's telling you directly what to do, but we've become this society that's like hyper educated to where we don't believe the simple stuff works way better than these fucking overdrawn
workarounds.
Oh my God. Like the most simple shit will change your life. And these people are looking for this because it's obviously got to be so complex if they've missed it their whole life,
everything's
right?
become so synthetic. If you just go back to the basics, working out, eating right, it's not a fucking
The
hard
basics,
equation here.
100%.
So you're in jail. I want to get back to the story here. You're in jail. You're this close to being locked up. I'm assuming like in the highest security, like
segregated
cement walls,
housing
no
unit.
window at this point.
People always were like, you weren't in the shoe. Some guy made fake paperwork about you online and showed your housing history. I have the paperwork on my page of me being housed in the
So
shoe.
you did actually get 11 months back there.
Yeah, I did 11 months, 8 days.
I was
in the
really
shoe.
hoping part of the story was you got out of it somehow.
No, I was 11 months, 8 days in the shoe. And then, but I got out and didn't get an extra case. So I had to do the time for the charge, but they didn't pick up a DA referral. So it wasn't like a DA referral. So, I mean, the thing is like what happens there is I just go back to the main line. I have extra points. And then later they looked at it and they dropped it down to a simple battery because they couldn't find the weapon and da-da-da. But I mean, the fact is like that still didn't stop me. So even after that time, I thought I lost my life. I got shipped back to California. I ended up going to Delano, and in Delano, I started using drugs again. So here I am, like fucking the last time I relapsed. People were watching football, and someone made some prison wine. And at that time, like me and my people had the white, the black, the heroin, the speed, and like all the drugs. And someone made some wine and I just took a bump of some speed, and that was my thing in the street is to drink alcohol and do cocaine and just to keep partying, drinking. And here we are in prison, fucking drinking prison wine and doing speed. And then that turned into like all night benders for like 2.5 weeks of me just staying up, smoking speed with these essays and just doing grams of speed off. Like we're having to buy foil from the kitchen that is like $20 a strip.
How were you getting money to do all this while you were there?
I was just selling drugs, Like, I mean, like we honestly have cell phones and then we're fucking have green dot cards out here from 7-Eleven that people's families put money on the green dot card. It's like a cell phone number. Okay. It's like a normal phone number. Yeah. You'll get on there and be like, hey, what's John's number again? And they'll be on the day room phone and they'll tell them, 631-756-4249. And that's a $500 green dot money pack number that I have the load card on. Yeah. And then they come give me the numbers. My people give them the drugs. I load the number through my cell phone into my bank account. And now I have
shit you can get away with
I
in
have
there.
green dot cards in prison with, I literally had a phone book full of $500 green dot numbers. So like the second I would land at a prison, I would roll up and be like, give me a phone. I'd hand someone like 3 numbers and be like, go get me a phone. I'd have a phone right away. And motherfuckers like, dude, they couldn't fathom how I'll never be stopped. Like I had more money than most of these lames out here fucking like when I was in prison. Some of these guys try to buy my coaching program and I'll be like, oh, it's $20K for a year to learn how to build your coaching program or $40,000 to work with me one-on-one. And they're like, whoa, that's a lot. I'm like, I had more money than that in prison, you fucking loser. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Dude, my rent at my place right here is $95,000 a month. Like my warehouse that I don't even go to is $25,000 a month. My Bugatti's $2 million down, $65,000 a month. Like literally, like, dude, my wife probably spends $100,000 a month on fucking different cooking shit she's not even gonna fucking use.
And that's not from charging $100 memberships a month.
No, this the money. Making all that money is from. I have memberships at 47.
Yeah.
That I have 18,000 people on a $47 membership. I have like 4,000 to 5,000 people on a $299 to $2,000 membership, and I sell about $30,000 worth of high ticket programs a day.
So I want to hear how you got to that. How did you get out of prison? Were you already kind of working this? You already knew this was going to be your plan. You had already done a prison workout video that went viral.
I was doing. I was tracking my macros. And I was doing workouts, and then guys in prison, I'd be like, bro, start tracking your macros and do your workouts. You're way offline. Like you're trying to do speed still. You're fucking around. You need to get up early. You need to read this book. You need to work out. You need to track your food. And like these guys would want to do it to like look better, you know? And I was posting transformations in prison of people's 90-day transformations on my cell phone, on my Instagram in prison. And I wasn't like, I'm going to make billions doing this.
Did you say you were in prison when you were posting these things?
Yeah. Everyone knew I was in prison. And I'm just sitting here going like, I'm going to do this. I didn't say I'm going to make millions or anything. I was like, no matter what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to train people in this manner. So even if I have to walk to the gym and eat green beans and canned chicken, I would be so happy to just be jacked, be sober, be a good dude, and no longer be a problem. And not have to look over my shoulder.
Yeah.
So then it just started to snowball. I just kept posting my workouts. I kept posting my lifestyle. I kept posting my mindset. People said, I want to do that. I'm like, do what? They're like, live with that much discipline. I'm like, what do you mean? Just fucking do it, you fucking lame. Like I didn't even understand that they were wanting to buy the mindset. I'm like, I could do your macros and your workout, but you're gonna have to figure it out, motherfucker.
And what year was this?
This is like when I got out.
But what year was that?
2018. So
it's
I
kind
got
of when
out.
the membership stuff was new. Like
I
having
got
a
to
membership was.
Yeah, I got out the end of 2017.
Okay, but this is like it's a new mindset from when you went in versus when you came out. Like this membership thing didn't exist.
Oh, nothing existed. Coaching didn't even was nothing. Like there wasn't even Instagram when I went in. Like there was flip phones and Facebook, you know, and I did it all in prison on smartphones. So I just stayed up on everything. But then by the time I get out, I just start fucking telling my story, and I go pretty viral on YouTube. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, you guys out there, your first podcast is gonna suck. Your first Instagram upload is gonna suck. Your first book you write is gonna suck. And I tell people, but mine didn't, motherfucker. Mine went 3.4 million views. And why is that? Because I created someone who really had some substance and something to say. Like I could teach people everything I do.
Yeah.
But if they don't live it and do it, they can't have the intensity behind it and the authenticity to pitch it and to look you in the eyes and say, this will change your fucking life.
But I know you hear this a lot on social media. People just get so offended by the way you speak to people.
Oh, good. I love offending
but I
people.
think though people need to hear that. Otherwise, some of these pussies, for lack of better ways to say it, is they won't actually get out there and fucking do it unless it's like your dad. You're like the dad. You're like, get up, you little punk. Get up. Let's go to school. Let's do this.
People think
I
really give a fuck about them. like the most cliche, stupidest shit is like, I just want to help people. Those people never help anyone. They're like, what? I just want to help people for a living. Well, what's stopping you, motherfucker? Pull your goddamn phone out. They're like, oh, you could do that? It's like no one had to tell me to help people through my phone. I don't even care about helping people. I don't give a fuck if you die in the gutter or you elevate and kill it. I don't give a fuck. That's the guy who's going to be the best coach. Yeah. The guy who's going to be the best coach is the guy who doesn't give a fuck whether you do it or not. He's going to fucking do it anyways, and he's going to be the best advocate of what works. If he gives a fuck about if his people make it or not, he's too big of a pussy to be a good coach. And so, like, you can't go to war fearing dying at war and be good at killing, you know? Yeah. So I don't give a fuck if you make it or not. I really don't. Like, I have new coaches that come to my program, and they're like, well, what if they're not doing it? It kind of is affecting me. I'm like, you're a fucking bitch. Shut the fuck up. Let them fail. Like, let them fucking fail a million fucking times. And they're like, they think that's like someone who's not compassionate towards their clients. I'm like, that is what they need. They don't need someone sending
No,
them.
the second you're not coddling them, though.
You don't coddle them. You don't give them good fucking energy because they're not doing
Then they're
it.
like, wait, come back, come back.
Yeah, you're like, shut the fuck up. Go then. You won't do it. You're fucking opted out. You ain't worth shit. I purposely put out content that gives me clients that aren't that way.
Yeah.
Because they could go work with Russell Simmons or some motherfucker like that. They don't need to come work with me, you know?
One of our friends owns a bunch of sober homes and hospitals,
Yeah.
and he was a former drug addict, and he was saying that he has the highest success rate because his shit is like a boot camp.
Yeah, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah, he goes, you have to change someone's habits.
Yeah, it's not counseling and
Yeah, it's
psychotherapy
not
the whole
like
time. Yeah.
Oh, hey, you
We're
need
not
to do
talking
this.
about it. We're doing it.
He said he has a boxing ring. Everybody gets up at 4. Like, I mean, it is so strict. And he said, once I break them of their bad habits and get them out of the lifestyle they were in before, he said, we have the highest success rate out of anybody.
The only reason people destroy and self-sabotage their lives is because they don't have much self-worth.
And they don't have anything to live
Yeah.
for.
The only reason they have
No
that you
purpose.
can build self-worth is if you do the personal development work. The work instills the worth, and the personal development work instills the personal worth. I don't give a fuck if you have a crazy business or you have a good marriage or you have the best fucking anything you work on. If you don't do personal development work, which is holding your word to yourself on what you want to be, you won't have personal worth. So that's where everyone fucks up. Like, I only do work on me. So everyone else can get the fuck dip. I don't give a fuck. I'll still be fine. Like, I literally have been through everything and I'll always still be standing because I do the work on me. And that's the answer everyone needs. Everyone shouldn't even, you shouldn't even report to your family. You shouldn't report to your kids, your wife. You shouldn't report to those around you, your employees. You don't report to any of them. You report above to what you know is completely correct as a man, and everything below will be taken care of. If I report to someone like as myself, like being a lesser offering to then coddle them or fucking accommodate their shortcomings, I'm not doing them justice. So I have to live at this standard, and you may lose a lot of people, but the people who are ready, they'll rise with you. And guess what? The people will be in the background, and it may be their 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 17th cycle of them trying. But if you never quit, they'll fully get it one day.
I believe that. I think your content does trigger a bunch of people, but I think a lot of the population, they almost need it. Like, I don't understand that.
If it wasn't triggering, they just look over it anyway.
Yeah, you're almost gonna.
That's the answer.
Yes.
People always talk shit about, like, oh,
He's
I don't
too
give
harsh, he's
yeah,
too
well,
this,
not
he's-
even that. They're like, I don't give a fuck about this. I'm like, you wouldn't say anything if you didn't.
Yeah.
Like, if there's some kids on his computer at his house talking about that people out there suck at Call of Duty. They're not even fucking good at playing this video game. Do you think I'd be on there commenting? I wouldn't even see
No.
the post.
Yeah.
So
I'm a silent stalker. I never comment on anyone's shit. 'Cause I just don't give a fuck,
anyone
yeah.
who ever comments on my shit or has something to say about who I am,
They're interested.
They want what I have, and they're just trying to denounce it to make themselves feel better about their inability to attain it.
I think it's so true, man. The
This is the biggest thing,
nowadays.
though. The healer does not heal people. He triggers people, and he triggers people's ability within themselves to heal themselves. So the healer won't heal you. He can't do that. He's going to trigger in you your own ability to heal yourself.
No, it's
He's
true.
going to make you feel so fucking wrong about where you're at that you're going to change it. And that's the problem that happened in society is people think they can live with no regret or live regret free. No, you fucking can't. Like, regret is attached to universal truths, and whether you're living in accordance with what a man is supposed to be in his fucking heart through design, like in his DNA. And this is like God's truth. This is like who you're being created as, like the offering that Sean is to you, the offering that Sean is to your family. That's his goal, is to be this offering to the world that is a product that he's proud of. And so many people they lie, and they think that their truth is the truth. And that's not the facts. I live by the truth. And if I don't uphold the truth, then I am a fat little fuck with love handles and tits looking like a bitch of a man. Then if I don't have enough money in today's society, I couldn't even be a millionaire. What do you mean? There's 54 million millionaires in like America alone, and I couldn't even be one of those? I must not be doing anything right.
The standards are super low nowadays. So I looked up a stat that a podcast, to be in the top 1%, you have to shoot over 21 episodes. And I was like, that's it? That's the 1%?
Dude,
I was like, dude, that is fucking easy.
The funniest thing is like, people don't realize if you just commit wholeheartedly to any path, there's so little competition that
Yes.
just by default, you'll beat everybody.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I can outwork anybody. And if I can do the same thing for a long period of time. And if you do
Well,
it long enough, it's going to work out at some point.
Yeah, and this has to do with kind of like what he does with workout stuff and you know, motivation. Is people expect to do things 2 or 3 times and be a
it didn't
success.
work, and I'm gonna quit. Yeah.
I mean, I fucking sold makeup for a year out of the trunk of my car before I was even in a fucking store. You know, you make shit happen. The numbers are really small at the beginning, but if you just keep doing it consistently over and over and over, regardless of what people say, don't listen to the haters, don't listen to the trolls, just keep fucking going. Keep your mind focused, and you're gonna do great. It's gonna come.
Biggest thing is people like really believe that like stuff's supposed to work for them. It's like, motherfucker, you work for it. Like nothing fits you. And in all reality, the shit that isn't easy, that doesn't work for you, is going to give you the most growth. And so like you have to pick a path and just stick to it. And I tell people, I didn't fucking ask for this. I took my spot. No one had said it was a great business plan to go selling your clients by completely fucking obliterating them and belittling the shit out of them in a type of content form. But want to know what that does? All you motherfuckers who still think that's a bad way of saying it because it hurts your little heart, let me explain it to you. This is how the fuck it works. If I make a content piece about an avatar that exists, and that avatar is a soft, weak-ass man with tits and a gut, and he makes no money and he's still drinking, he's a loser. If I preach that avatar to you and bring him into fruition in your mind, and I say how much of a fucking loser this guy is, and you sit there and you have to say, you have a choice right there. You have a choice, because I'm not saying it directly to your face. I'm showing you this individual. You have a choice at that second to say, is that me or isn't it? And right there, most people have their first chance to be accountable for who they are. When you show them that avatar and they go, he's talking about me, I'm that guy. That is the first second through content that they're able to really be accountable in their life. And if you said it to them in proximity, they would be so fucking shook and so thrown off, they would never be able to accept that you're not just fully attacking them. And when you're being attacked, you're so dysregulated, you can't hear the truth behind the message.
So how many guys have come at you for like talking shit like that and then have become one of your membership programs
after
that?
I mean, it happens all the time. Essentially, everyone's like, at first I fucking hated you, but like then it was, because very few people live like Sean to where he's like, he's fucking right. What the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? Very few people have lived like that for a long time. I've had people live like that, kill it, and then regress so hard that they hate on me. You know, like they start killing it and then they go back on their habits and they're like, you know what, fuck him, he's totally wrong.
But why?
Because they just couldn't do it. Their ego's in the way, like they couldn't hack it. And the thing is like, is it physical? Yeah. Is it financial? Yeah. Is it about being a good family man? Yeah. Is it about being all these things? Yes. I don't understand why people think it's this or that. It's this and that. Like everyone really believes you have to trade one for the other, as if you can't be like a multimillionaire and be a good parent or something. Like there's always this trade-off in their mind.
Trying to make excuses.
Yeah. So they're opting out of the work because most people they know won't be able to do both.
Back to the business side, right when you got out, I just want to know, how did you even think to, just because people were asking you, hey, I want your workout program, I want your diet. Like, how'd you think to set up your credit card processing? Like, how'd you get to that
everything I fucking was doing was like, I was like even defensive about. I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, they were like trying to buy from me and I didn't even know it. And then like doing it long enough, I'm like, oh, because like people would like force the sale. They'd be like, listen, bro, like
please, I'll pay you.
My very first high ticket client, he goes like this. I send him my link and I say, it's $250 for 1 month of training. And I do your training and nutrition. And he's like, but bro, like other people have a program like this. They have like a Zoom call and they pay like $2,000 a month. Mm-hmm. You talk to them, schedule them a program and talk to them once a week and then do their diet and nutrition. I'm like, oh, and he's like, I'm going to send you a laptop and pay you $2,000 a month. I'm like, let's do it. And he's like, that's how I got my first high ticket client. And the guy sent me a laptop and started paying me $2,000 a month. And I'm like, this is fucking crazy. And then I realized, oh, I'm not a macros and training coach. I'm a mindset coach. And now we're talking.
way to look
Now we're working with the CEOs, we're working with top people. I have billionaire clients where they're like, one of my billionaire clients right now, he made over $1 billion in the last 10 months and then got sued by every fucking state of the union. A real estate thing that they're tripping on him about. Like he paid people like way back when to have like sole rights to sell their house at like a certain price, like would give him like 30 grand up front or something. And he has like so many people locked into contract and like Zillow and every state.
So now he's
and
like a monopoly.
Yeah, all these people like fucking are suing the shit out of him. But he'll probably still make 350 million off it in 10 months. But he's like fighting this massive court battle with like every attorney general from 10 different states. And then the motherfucker's like, Wes, like your content helps me so much. Like every day I'm like, I can't fucking take this. And then you put out one of those videos about like, I don't give a fuck what you're going through. A real fucking man does not fucking bend on his character. He gets his shit done. He's like, you just get me through every day. And that's where I knew that I was a mindset coach and I was a mindset based individual that was teaching people a deeper understanding of why to stick to everything.
How much did you do that first year?
First year I did probably like, 100,000 or something. The very first year I did like 300 to like $3,000 a month for like the first 16 months. And then I did my first like blow up podcast on YouTube and I went super viral on the very first one I was ever on. It was like Big Hurt Prison Talk. And after that one, I made 15,000 like the first day after that one dropped. Off $250.
I was just about to ask, but you're still doing 250.
Yeah.
And how many years
$250
after that? Was that the first year?
That was like a year and a half out of prison.
Okay, got it.
So at a year and a half out of prison, I'm making 15,000, like literally like a day. Like, I mean, 4,000 a day to like 15 on like the highest day. And I didn't even know that you could fucking, on the computer, if you pull up the desktop version of the app I use, that you could copy people's programs and then make it easier that way.
So you were manually writing it out?
I was doing it in my phone and my hands right here were hurt so bad. I'm
like carpal tunnel.
Oh my fuck, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this anymore. I wasn't even thinking about the technology solution. I'm like, I just don't
That's
think
why I talk, text, everything that I do.
I just don't think my hands can take it. Fuck is this? And then and then I started learning some more shit. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? And then I learned to really onboard people really quick.
So what did you do with the 250 customers when you started saying, oh fuck, I can make 2,000? Did you tell them upgrade or get out?
No, the 250 customer just only turned to 299. Like still till today, it's 299 to 2,000. So I was making like $4,000 a day till I understood different price tiers. So I was basically making like $4,000 to $15,000 on a crazy fucking day. I made $150,000 like that first month after the podcast blew up. And then I was like, oh my God. And for like 4 months, I made like 150 to like almost $200,000. And about like right when I was hitting like that 4 month mark, I started talking to more people. They started catching on to what I was doing. And I was like, oh, I need different tiers in my pricing. So I had $299, $750, $1,299, and $2,000. So now the people weren't buying ever $299s, they were buying $750s. So now every sale that came in was $750, not $299. So now that blew up.
Because nobody wants to be the low guy. You know what I mean?
They're
going to get more for their money.
More than a month, And then I had the high ticket program that I introduced that was $1,500 a month and $4,000 for 3 months. I didn't even have a 6 and 12 month pricing. So I didn't even believe people would buy that big.
So I have to ask, how did you get credit card processing? Because I know that's hard, especially when it comes to membership.
I had so much money in my account so quick that the credit card processors they had to honor me. I had already set up my LLC and I had like $400,000 in the bank like already. Like within the first 3 months, I had literally like $400,000 cash in my bank account.
Because it's been a struggle, especially with the business he used to be in, the supplements. So they just don't want to cover shit like that, and they're just really weird
stuff
about
too. It's weird, but money, it does matter because they know you're not going to
nowadays
do fraudulent stuff.
If you just have that money in the account.
Yeah, they just want to make sure it's not fraud, so you're running a bunch of people's card. Do you have a lot of chargebacks?
No, not really. I work with Easy Pay Direct, which is like a company that you have a rep. So like you would have a rep to talk to. And what they do with me is they hold a 10% reserve. So I do 3,000 or about 3 million a month. So they have 300,000 in a reserve that I have to give them cash that any chargeback comes from. They just pull out of that.
I just didn't know because I know how people are, and it's like they didn't follow anything that you did, and they're like, I want my money back, and it didn't work. It didn't work.
There's a really high rate of
really
chargebacks,
they didn't
which is
even
why,
follow it. But
they're just losers. Like that happens. But I mean, it doesn't happen that much to me.
But this management company deals with all of that credit card expiration stuff. That was the hardest part about doing these memberships, is chasing people down all the time, trying to get new credit cards when they expire and all that. You don't have to do any of that stuff directly. The management company handles it all for you.
Yeah, it's just basically the my people, like my team of people do that shit.
Oh, they're showing it.
But I mean, the thing is like there's only recurring charges on my $299 to $2,000 program and my $47 program. I never do a recurring on high ticket.
Okay, so just one-time charge, and then they have
it's a
you
one-time charge, and then we talk about it again if you want to keep going.
So how are you able to give yourself to so many people? Are you doing Zoom
It's
calls
just
with
the way it's
everybody
set
on
up.
it?
My business Zoom is a one onboard call and then into a group call. And that's 3,000 to 20,000 a year. I onboard you, tell you exactly. I say, post this, charge this, use these apps. I tell them exactly what to do to make their Instagram bulletproof to be able to sell from there right away. Like,
And that's what's for the coaching side.
yeah,
of it,
that's for
right?
coaching for 3,000 to 20,000. That sells me like 20, 30 grand of signups a day on that program.
That's
Then I have
it's valuable to them though, because they're taking the shortcut. They're not having to like do all the research. You're telling them exactly what tools they need to be successful.
There's certain posts that I've done that even at the start, I'm like, what the fuck do these people keep DMing me about this for? And like, you would look over it. You wouldn't think that's an accurate post to do, or even a way to structure your story on Instagram. And then like, you won't even know those are sales till I tell you. Like, do you know how many influencers out there have a full DM box and they don't realize those are all sales? They just don't know how to fucking like grab the person and convert them to their product or service, because most of them sell stupid products or services. But that's why, like, if we have a personal development Instagram set up for Sean, the thing is we would show his productive lifestyle. Now, personal development individuals, they're addicted to productivity. So they'd be like, damn, Sean's up early. Damn, Sean's working out. Damn, Sean's eating right. And you're just fucking antagonizing the shit out of a personal development individual. They're just like, fuck, they're so triggered by it. It's like, why can Sean stick to it every day and I can't? This motherfucker has a secret.
The same thing.
Yeah. No, but that's true. You have to be around someone like that to really pull off their energy. Like,
no, it's true.
Yeah, and so he would be
Energy
able
mirroring,
to,
so they can do it.
yeah, he would be able to show his daily habits and his structure and monetize that as like a way to develop them as a higher level individual to get all their daily work done and to be operating at a certain level that they can operate at before. So like that, I really sell that morning process, that daily process that makes you someone who truly builds worth and builds confidence.
So do you have the extra subscription button, like the OnlyFans through Instagram kind of thing, where you're able to give them more content, or they just
No,
have to
I
become
don't
a
do
member?
that. I just sell just my programs. I have so many ways I could make more money, but I mean, I can barely even fucking,
So I was going to ask, do you still answer all your own DMs?
oh, all of them.
See, because you're the closer. You don't trust anybody
I
else
close
to do
everything.
that.
I've done every sale for my company. I've never even needed a closer. People are like, people think a closer would be better, but the way I set up their content, the content closes them.
I don't think it'll be better.
Yeah,
Nobody's going to be better at it.
I won't give it up. I answer all my own DMs too. I won't give it up.
And this,
But how many other people do you have working for you? I know you do all the sales,
I
but
have about 11 people, but just like in different shit, like with content and stuff like that. So but the main thing is like with the content structure, the person's already closed. And then people are like, how long does it take you to close like a certain client? I'd be like 2.5 years. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I close people over a 2.5 year period. Like, people don't even want to think that long, but most of my clients followed me for that long and they were like sold on me. So the people who come in and they don't get who I am, I don't even try to sell them. I'm like, just hang on for a little bit.
They'll
Just hang on for a little bit. They're like, I don't even know what you do. I'm like, why don't you stop talking for a second and pay attention, you know? Like, I tell them right away, you're too stupid to do this. If they ask me what I do, I say, you're too dumb to do this. And they're like, fuck you. I'm like, no, fuck you. You're too dumb to do this. I told you to fuck off.
No,
And
but it
they're
all
like,
has to do. All these people have daddy issues. You
Oh
tell
my
them. You
God.
tell them that they can't do something, and then they're going to show you. Yes, I can. I can do this just like
so
you can do this.
crazy. But yeah, the elevating my business it wasn't even, I don't even care to do it. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't sit there with like a whiteboard, be like, this is how we're going to hit a new fucking level of income. I've never done that. Like, the way my business works, if I get bigger and more views and more, I'm more known, then I'm going to have more closes. It's like, using the internet is just so fucking easy, but so difficult for people who aren't consistent.
Well, because they overthink it. It's like thinking like an engineer or an attorney. They just overthink it so much
Get a business
that they
guy.
talk themselves out of
Yeah.
it. Just fucking do.
Get a fucking
do.
business guy trying to build a personal brand. He'll do it so fucking stupid, it'll blow your mind. Get someone who wants their own TV show to build a personal brand. They'll do it perfectly. Like, someone who just wants attention and they want to talk to people and they want to be on the camera, that person will build a perfect brand perfect. The person who's like a business guy, like, we're selling this. This is a quota. He will be so fucking dumb online. It's fucking mind boggling. But the whole point is to make a reality show with commercials, you know? Like, imagine if like the Kardashians, you were watching their fucking show and like Kylie's getting on her jet, and before she hops on her jet, you're not just watching her hop on the Global 7500. It goes like, you know, Kylie Cosmetics brought in $650 million last year. Boom, the taxable income left is 40% of that. You know, she has to pay $300 million, and she has to expense $300 million, or she's paying the government. And then they're like, boom, she bought 2 jets. $144 million. Now she still owes X amount. You see how Section 179 favored her? Boom. What if they taught us like that on TV? It would be so valuable to watch rich people's lives if they broke it down like that. That's what I'm doing. I'm showing my life and I'm breaking down like the schematics of why. Like I'm still people, I'm like,
that's a good idea.
I'm in Florida with Montana license plates and people are like, "You're from Montana?" And I'm like, "Bro, are you serious right now?" And they're like, "Yeah, you have Montana plates." I'm like,
property tax.
I'm like, I don't pay any taxes on anything with Montana, anything.
Which in Texas is huge because Florida I think is the same, to where you have a business personal property tax, and so they're going to tax you 6% on the value of all your
everything.
Cars,
I mean, there is zero from Montana. You just buy the motherfucker. If you buy a watch, you buy it out of your Montana address. If you buy a purse or something for your wife, Montana. I mean, everything's bought out of Mon-fucking-tana. Like, it's Kalispell, you know?
Isn't that
everybody
how New
knows
York
that.
is too, though, with stuff like that too, or no?
Everywhere has massive
like
sales
jewelry.
tax. Montana has none. And their registration is zero.
What about property tax? So in Miami, like the business.
I don't own any property. I purposely have just kept myself like, the way I live is there's zero risk.
What about the cars though? They don't tax you on having the cars here?
No. They're all Montana cars out of my business LLC. Like, they're owned by the business. No, I own nothing. Wes Watson owns nothing personally, has no money, has no assets. Everything's involved in my trust and my business, and I have nothing. You could get nothing from me. I own nothing. I have nothing. And the thing is like, people are like, think that's stupid. Like, you don't even own your house. I'm like, yeah, I bet. I don't own nothing. I don't own shit. They're like, you rent there. I'm like, yeah. And I got $20 million worth of fucking Blackstone stock that's fucking making real money. You know, it's like, you could play with your stuff like that, or I'll do it this way. My whole goal is to keep everything with zero liability. Like, if my business went to zero, I can get out of my house in fucking 2 months. I could get out of this, get out of that. Cars are paid for. I have zero liability. Like, I can be free from all bills in 2 months and have no bills if I want to. Other people, like, they have to keep it going or they're fucked.
Which is huge, yeah. That's huge.
So you don't have intentions to invest in real estate at all?
I would, but I'm only for like if my wife wants to do it and she like needs the physical property to love it. But like Blackstone gives me like 15%. I've had like 25% on their stock. It's only going to grow. That's my way of investing in real estate through the pros who do real estate. I bet you I could make more, but I just don't have the bandwidth. I would start a company that did that. Like,
if you're making that much cash, you don't need to.
My question was diversification, like in the future. You know, if Instagram just decides to shut down one day.
The thing is, I would take my money and I would have someone who's a pro like scope out multifamilies, build me a portfolio like that, do it all for me. But I would have to pay them to do everything. I have no time to do any of it. So as of right now, that's not an option. But if my wife wanted to do it, or if I hired someone or went in with a partner, which I don't like to do that. I've never really went in with partners and had a good
from partnerships.
I've never really had that work out good. Yeah. So like, I mean, I would want to be like, hey, you run everything. Anyone like that, I would just have to be like, you're just on salary. Like, you don't own any portion of this. Like, this is my money, I'll pay. And then still, I don't like really trust so many people with that.
Do you think you can get to $1 billion?
I mean, this is not really my goal, but my whole thing is I never know what's going to come along for me with the internet. Like, I could be on fucking TV. I could be a movie star next year. Like, I don't fucking know. I don't even know what the fuck's going to come. And that's what I love about it. But the whole thing with me is I mean, Tony Robbins charges $1 million for 1 day of being with him for like 12 hours.
Because of that personal brand he built over the last 30 years.
Because he's a celebrity authority figure. Yeah. A lot of people are authority figures. Like, they're like online because they have some authority in a certain zone of genius. You have to be a celebrity authority figure to charge any amount of money you want. So, I mean, that's just what I'm in the works of being a celebrity authority figure, you know?
Go and do speeches. Get paid $1 million, walk out, be done.
100%. And I mean, I've spoke with Ed Milet a few times, and his are 150,000 that they pay him to speak. And that day that I was with him, he was on his jet and he did 3. And he made like 450,000 at 3 different speaking gigs that were like in the vicinity at different places. And that year, I guess he made 60 million speaking or some crazy fucking amount, you know? But I mean, that day he made 450,000. So it made plenty sense that he made 67 million that year speaking, you know?
Yeah, that's.
Are you doing a lot of speeches? I've seen you.
They've kind of been cutting back on getting me on speeches because I'm so controversial right now. A lot of people are scared of that shit. They're too corporate. And they don't realize, like, you would rather have me on the headline to get the initial views, and then people would feel however they want to feel about me, and then
Bleep you out.
Then the substance can be the other people you think are so awesome. But I mean, the point is like, a lot of people are scared. Like, there's a lot of guys in the industry who turn their back on me when like few small things happened, and they like act like they're people who don't stand up to canceling and shit. Like fake ass motherfuckers that are big dudes in the industry, and they're like, yeah, like freedom of speech and like cancel culture's wrong, and I would stand up to the government. Motherfucker, you wouldn't even stand up to these stupid ass pages that post memes about people, you pussy. And it's like, and I tell these people that, like, they think that like I won't talk to them that way because they're like some name that everyone knows. I'm like, fuck you, fat little bitch. I say, you're such a pussy, dude. I hope everyone figures out one day how big of a fucking bitch you are. And the dude's like, dude, I made one of these top dudes cry by talking to him like that. I'm like, are you crying? You fucking pussy. And the guy was crying. One of the top guys in the industry who everyone thinks is a motivator and like a hard dude who talks hard. One of the top motivational speaking guys in all of motivational speaking and talks all tough. I made him fucking cry. He goes, well, my stomach's been hurting. I'm like, what do you have, a tummy ache, motherfucker? Fuck you. You want to call me talking shit? And he was just like, geez, Wes, like, oh my God. Me and him know what the fuck time it is.
After this, you got to tell me who that is.
Yeah, it's fucking laughable. Because the guy swears he would stand up to everything, and he personally canceled me. Like, he personally canceled me from anything he was doing.
I think the cancelers are over. I keep hearing this now. You can't get canceled anymore. Everybody's fucking over that shit.
You can't get canceled because literally, I went on a podcast the other day. I said everything you're not allowed to say, and I'm still going. But I was supposed to do a fucking one with Tate soon, but that scares me kind of, just to go do the podcast with him, because then they would fully just bleep me off the world. You know?
To who? Tate?
Yeah, Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate, yeah.
Yeah, I would have to go to
No,
Romania.
the CIA come to your house.
Even the other day, like, I was at Pura Vida. And this is when Diddy was like the worst person on the planet. Now he's even worse. But like, literally, they were hating on Diddy more than anything. Suppose he fled the country in his jet. And I walk into Pura Vida right here. I can't roll my R, so don't worry about it if I said it wrong. And I roll in and I pull up in the Bugatti, and this fool's like, damn, and it's P. Diddy. And I didn't even notice him at first. And other people were trying to talk to me, like other fans or whatever. And I was like, kind of like, I just want to shake. And my boy's like, dude, that's Diddy right there. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? I roll over there and I show him my phone. I say, hey, I've chartered your jet a few times, you know, because I've chartered his jet, like Love Air. You'll see when you do a jet charter, it's located under Love Air LLC, and it's Diddy's plane, you know. And I go I show him, I say, I used your plane before. He's like, how'd you like it? I'm like, it's dope. And then like my homie snapped that picture. And I asked him, I said, hey, can I make a video with you? And this is like when like nobody knows where he is. He's supposedly in hiding. I shoot a video with Diddy, and then I send it to a few of my friends. I'm like, should I post this? They're like, I don't know if that's good for your brand. Post it, motherfucker, what? Like, and that shit went like 10 billion views, and everybody wants to hate. It's like, shut the fuck up. They're like, I thought you were some shot caller, and that guy's this and that. I'm like, literally, you motherfuckers, like, I'm not getting in no other man's business about his shit. If you were there and you seen the guy at this time, you'd have probably done the same fucking thing. But like, this is a problem. This is my whole thing. I don't agree with any of the shit or any of the fucking whatever, but I'm just saying, I don't speak on other men. I don't use their name to like boost some shit, unless in a good way. And that was a good way, because everyone was like, this guy's still out and about, you know, he's chilling. But I never talk about men on my podcast or my stuff, and I'll never say their name unless it's in a good way. But the main thing is that I don't give a fuck like about how it's going to be perceived to protect my brand or myself. And that's what everybody's doing wrong. They're like, they know it's the truth, but they won't say it They'll censor it. They won't show it. They won't be involved with it if it's going to ruin their image or their brand. I'm like, but what about the truth behind it, you know? Like, so one of these guys who canceled me, he knew the truth behind it, behind what someone was saying about me. Like, he knew it. One of the people saying something about me was his niece's boyfriend. And the motherfucker still sided with the lies they were saying about me, even though he knew the guy. Like, he personally knew him. And I'm like, you're going to really side with that shit? Like, you're not going to stand up and say, no, I know that guy. He's bullshitting. Wes really did kill it for him. He wants free views. And the truth about that guy is, yeah, maybe he talks a certain way and offends some of his people that work for him or try to work with him. But like, no, his shit's real. Those are real testimonials. He's really killing it. I know the guy who said he didn't do well for him and he was just butthurt because he told him he'll beat his fucking ass, you know? And this is why he's butthurt. But the whole point is the guy didn't stand on the truth, bro. If someone came to me and like, I figured out after this podcast that Sean is some type of guy who's done something that Wes Watson's people don't agree with, I'd be like, well, I met Sean and he was cool as fuck. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, we were chill. And that's what people don't do anymore. No. They just side with themselves. Like, I did a speaking engagement with, what's his name? Wolf of Wall Street. And then when I posted that, I thought he was cool as fuck. Like, Wolf of Wall Street, he's cool as fuck.
One of our favorite movies.
Dude, I love the guy. He was cool as fucking person, taught us a lot. Everyone's like, you're going to work with a rat? And the guy's messaging me, telling me everything about Jordan that he's done wrong. I said, the only rat I know for sure is you in my DM right now talking about another man's business. So there's only one rat here for sure, you motherfucker. And the guy's like, yeah, but this and this. I've never researched that, bro. But I know one thing for sure is you're ratting on the guy right now. So like, it's so crazy how everyone wants to throw everyone on the bus, be on my side, not on that person's side. Like, if I like someone, I like him. I don't give a fuck. And look dude, I went to prison for attempted murder. I was like a horrible dude. And these people are saying, Wes, you saved my life. And now you're going to vilify this guy because he's in the middle of his problem? Like, he's in the middle of his problem that wasn't as bad as my problem that I did to someone. And you think I'm the savior for you now, but this guy's going through it and you're going to shit on him when he's down? Why don't you already know that this guy has an opportunity to change? And maybe if you guys didn't fucking kick him when he's down, he'll change quicker for the better. Like, people are just fucking weird. They never think anything through, you know?
I'm still shocked that you can get all this hate on social media and it doesn't affect you whatsoever.
Oh, I love it. I do.
Well, was it always like that? Or is there something you just learned, like when you first,
I stand up and I'm like, oh, they're talking about me again. Yes, my favorite subject, me.
And I think that's so hard for people to get past, especially when they're starting something new, starting a business, is blocking out all that bullshit. But I think you've just turned it around and you just say, listen, they're just a bunch of fucking pussies. They just want what I want. They want what I have. They want to be this and they can't. And so they have nothing else better to do but to eat lasagna on their mom's couch.
It's like one of these last
internet.
Things that happened. This guy was like a bag of trash, like literally the fattest little titty, soft pussy fuck with like tiny arms. And he's wearing like a blue Nordstrom shirt that his mommy bought him. And his chick's like 300 pounds. And he's sitting here telling people how to be a good parent and a good man. It's like you and your 300-pound chick are horrible parents. The fuck? What are you gonna fucking make your kids fucking neck donuts before school and get made fun of? You fucking lame.
Do you have these people come up to you in public and say?
No. This was on like a podcast debate thing, and all these losers are getting his back. If I saw a bunch of losers like getting my back, I'd be like, oh fuck, I fucked up. Like, there's a bunch of losers saying, Wes, you're right, you know? Like, if I got studs like Sean, who's a multimillionaire, and he's on his boat with the fucking six-pack, it's just like, oh, like, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing the right thing. Like, studs have my back, you know? And like, this person's got a whole train of fucking wall-eyed fucks going, yo, that is wrong. He's a bully. If a grown man ever calls another man a bully, he's such a pussy. That's what's wrong with the world. A man got bullied. What the fuck? Like, literally, my wife told me one of her daughter's friends' moms called and said my stepdaughter was bullying her. I said, good. And they're like, what do you mean good? I said, at least she's not the one getting bullied. You tell your daughter to be cooler, fucking nerd. And they're just like, Jesus, what the fuck, Wes? I'm like, that's how I think. Go fuck yourself then. Yeah, get off my page.
No, it's really getting to the point where the world is just a bunch of fucking wussies, and I just can't even with the.
I'm not gonna fucking tell you
cater to that. Yeah.
Oh, he bullied this other man. Why don't these guys not realize when they go online crying that another man yelled at them, how big a bitches they look? Yeah, but Wes Watson yelled at me. What the fuck did you think he was gonna do? You watched this goddamn content. The guy yells 24. This
He
is
yells
the best,
at everybody.
This is the best
I don't
thing.
even know
Like,
how you have a voice.
I don't really, but this is the best thing. This guy goes, they'll go like, you're not who you say you are. I'm like, I'm the guy in my content calling titty having dudes bitches. And then if you drink, you're a fucking pussy. Like, what are you talking about? I stand on everything I fucking believe. What are you reading into? Well, you said like the energy you release is what you possess. I'm like, I don't feel bad about fucking steering you away from what's worse, the worst habits you have.
Yeah, I think your message is really good. It's just people
just
get
breaking through
crazy.
the
Yeah, it's
barrier
like
of
no
fear.
drugs, no alcohol, work out every day, do hard shit. But then it's the way you say it that people get,
they're defensive because like, look at their greatest addiction in this world is comfort. And you're taking away their comfort. Like, what the fuck? They're like, I'm gonna have to live like that. Do you know how miserable that would be to get up at the time
actually
me and
feel
Sean
good.
get up and work out all the time? Fuck, I wouldn't even be able to like chill and eat pizza and get sauce all over my titties.
So whenever I was in my 20s, kind of goes back to what you were saying. Like everybody would go, you don't have any hobbies? Why don't you, what's your hobby? I'm like, well, working out and work. And they're like, no, your hobby. I'm like, well, that's my hobby. That's what I like to do. And so I never understood why people are like, we need to take a vacation. Well, how do you know I need to go do a vacation if that's not what I like to do? Then I'm paying to do what I don't want to do. I don't understand it.
Oh
like
my
I
God.
don't even understand the way of thinking.
Yeah, I mean, me as an individual, productivity is my high. If I'm doing everything I need to do to be who I want to be and where I want to be in life, that is my favorite day.
That's what I'm saying. It's like why don't you just build the life you want? Why do you have to escape with alcohol or drugs or vacation or whatever? I don't understand that way of thinking. And so kind of always thought the opposite. I was like, I don't like going. I was like,
I literally live in the best part of Miami. I'll do like a phone call and then I'll like drive to a place and get like a shake in like a multi-million-dollar car. I'll like hop out in nice clothes. There's a bunch of beautiful people.
yeah, like what vacation could ever
Where am I going on vacation?
Yeah,
Like,
you need it.
No, but I do want to go hit like some of these islands down here. And I do want to do a little bit of traveling just because like the family gets too wound up too. Like they kind of need a vacation because they're not like,
She does too. She
yeah,
likes
they're not
traveling.
conditioned to just be a dog and put their head down and do the same shit over and over.
Yeah.
That's all I like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's like, why would I leave my comfort zone and the shit that I love doing every single day to go be inconvenienced on a vacation?
Oh my
Not
God.
interested.
It's more work going on vacation.
It is.
That's what he
Shit.
says.
Planning
I gotta
all
get
that
away.
shit.
I don't mind the planning part. That's the best part for me. But yeah, I don't like all the little, like we got stuck on the way here. He's like, this is just one step closer to us getting on a private plane. This is,
Yeah,
Oh, you
I can't
have
do
to.
it.
I
was
only
a-
fly private.
he's by the end of the year, we're going to be private. And I
You
just,
have to.
It's just so inconvenient when you're delayed 4 hours at the airport. We didn't get
Oh
in until
my
2:30
God.
a.m.
No.
Meemaw can't handle that. Meemaw's bedtime's 9. It was just, it's going to take me a week to recover from that.
If when I fly private, they don't have full white tablecloth service with like my meals that I want prepared and like I'm served like a king, I fucking lose my shit.
Is there a certain service though that
I go
like a
through-
certain charter company that
I go
provides
through
that?
certain people, but like VistaJet has a good one. But like I go through certain people who charter for me, and like I mean, sometimes they fuck up and they hear it from me like a motherfucker. Like I flew my wife and kids out from Vegas the other day, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and they flew out in a G4. And I pick them up at the airport with 2 Phantoms, my drivers, everything. Everything I do is a production. I can't do shit small. I'm worth more than that. But they get off the plane, and they're like, we didn't eat. And I'm like, what? And they're like, oh, shit, we shouldn't have told them that. And here I am on the phone, you motherfucker, my fucking family
Ripping their
didn't
ass.
fucking eat on the fucking way here. You know, I'm just like, but the thing is with me, I'll teach a lot of people how to operate better if they just drop their ego and they be accountable and be like, yeah, like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Like this guy normally gets this service for $50,000 on a flight. And then since he's not there, I dropped the service, you know, what the fuck's the matter with you? You piece of shit. Like we haven't even had a new assistant start working with us. And something happened to where it was like Saturday. And I'm like, well, when's the next day you want to come? And keep in mind, this is like her 3rd day. And she goes, Tuesday. And it's on Saturday. I'm like, what? What was your answer? And she goes, Tuesday? And I'm like, no, wait, what the fuck was your answer? And I'm like, nah, you know what? We're not going to be doing this. You're fired. And she was like, oh my God. And I'm like, and I'm going to need like a straight, we're going to have to prorate the check you took too, because you got paid at the start of the month. She's like, I already spent it. And I'm like, well, you're fucked then. And she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, next time, here's a fucking answer. When do you need me there? It's not Tuesday on a Saturday.
But you made her a better person because of that, hopefully.
Yeah,
She won't do that again.
Hopefully.
Oh, dude, like I strike fear in people who give wrong answers. Like, it's just, but that's what you're supposed to do. Like, disciplined and dangerous teaches lessons. If people don't fear the repercussions and there's no
I
consequences,
hope all of
they'll
my
never
employees
change.
are listening to this right now. I think I'm Satan most days. I'm like, devil wears Prada. I'm like, listen,
Please, God,
if
be
you're too
harder
soft
on
on people, it's like they're just like, oh, they're willy-nilly.
Too much kindness breeds a lack of accountability.
Yeah.
If they know that you're gonna fucking hammer them, then like the guy the other day who got the dust all over my car from his big ass pad. He will fucking
He's
never.
putting a net up right now.
Yeah, he'll never get punked by like another man. If he better just go get a gun and shoot the next motherfucker who does that, because he got so punked in front of his wife and kids, it was amazing. Like,
He probably did not get laid that night.
oh my, he's never getting laid again. He was past the point. She was taking him for his money. He was like one of them motherfuckers who's super old, and she was like half his
He's
age in Russia.
preserved.
Yeah, it was like in vitro with their kid. But like the fucking this dude, don't ever let a motherfucker punk you in front of your chick and your kids like that.
What was he going to do, though?
He was gonna get his fucking ass kicked.
Yeah, but what was he going to do?
Yeah.
Talk back to you?
That's
Throw
the whole
some
thing.
punches?
That's the whole thing. Be the businessman you are right then.
yeah.
Don't be a passive aggressive asshole when it's just me and you standing there. Who knows? I could be having a real bad day and take your life. And people are like, they hate when I say this shit. The other day I said this on a video. I said, if you die in front of me, I'll step on the back of your fucking head. If you died in front of me in the door of the gym, I'll step on the back of your head and walk over your dead body and do the rest of my work that day. Everyone got so mad. They go, what if that was your wife and kids? I said, I'm speaking to a group of men on a podcast. I'm not saying if my wife and kids died in front of me. And guess what? If something happened, the answer is to keep doing the work. I'm just sorry to tell you guys, if something happened in your life and it's the most fucking painful, just emotional, fucking distraught time of your life, what's going to save you is to get up and do the work. Straight up. Like, what's going to save you? Laying in bed and crying or doing push-ups? Like, you got to strengthen yourself.
Whenever something fucked up happens, people are always like, oh, you need to take some time. I'm like, no, this is what helps me get through it. I just
You
keep
gotta
going.
Work harder.
If I sit around, you just can't get out of bed. It's just a vicious cycle. You just end up going into this dark place. You just got to
I've
turn back
never
around
done-
and keep fucking
In
going.
prison, that was what taught me everything is like, oh my God. Like, you wake up and you don't realize you're in prison sometimes. You're like, oh my fucking, no way. And you get up and you're like,
This is
fuck,
not
I
a
just got to get
dream.
right into it.
Yep.
You just get right into the work and going as hard as you can, validating yourself as much as you can by your self-talk and your actions. And that's what people don't get. Like, everyone listening, next time you have a bout of adversity, next time you're facing the hardest problem that you've ever faced in your life, you have to realize this. With your self-talk and your actions during times of adversity, you guys are building your strengths and your weaknesses. So whoever you just want to be on the other end of this problem, this is who you're going to become. If you're going through a divorce, if something happened to a loved one, whatever, you can't sit there and say you're going through a divorce. You can't sit there and go, she's with someone else. I'm not worth shit. Oh my God. And just, you're going to come out as a whiny bitch at the end of this. If literally you stay strong, you have gratitude, you keep working, you're like, hey, it was good that I had that time when it lasted. Like, it was cool to even be loved. Some people never have been. I still send love to her. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to kill it in life. I'm going to crush this workout. I'm going to kill the day. I'm going to prepare myself better for the next person. If you, with your thoughts and your actions during times of adversity, that's how you reshape your identity.
I have a good friend that went through a divorce recently.
It's devastating,
It
but
is,
it's,
but in January,
it's the
he
most
was like-
common thing on the planet.
And he woke up and he's like, look, everything's my fault. He's like, no matter what happened, lost 60 pounds, I was like, first time I've seen his jawline and since I've known him for 15 years. And changed his whole life, and man, he's killing it now.
One of some I don't say people's names in podcasts and shit unless it's in a good way. But I saw Sean Whalen, and he had been with his wife for however long, like they're real close. And just one day, 6 weeks ago, she sent him divorce papers and never talked to him again. And I saw his pictures, and he was just so jacked. He looked the best he's ever looked.
The revenge diet.
Yeah, he looked the best he's ever looked. And I sent him a message, and I said, I'm fucking proud of you. Like, it was real powerful to see that. And so any of you guys who are building your brands on social media or you want to do this type of shit, realize that's going to be your most powerful moment, is that you're going to document your life for the world to consume over the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years. When something really bad happens in your life, your ability to stick to everything you were preaching is going to be the deciding factor of like how people view you, and use your life story to empower theirs.
Yeah,
because someone cannot empower me if they're not empowering themselves first.
Yeah, and that's the only way everyone's going to relate to it.
It was
like,
so
I'm going through that same
powerful
thing, right?
to see him, like, because it was one or two choices. He was really a man of his word, and he would turn out like that, stronger, better, fucking still showing up for everyone, or he was going to fall off. And the fact is, he proved his point right there. So you almost have to wait for the worst shit to occur when you're an online figure, and then know that you're going to come out on top. So it's happened to me a bunch of times. I've been through a divorce. Me and my current wife have split a couple times. Every time, for like the first 72 hours, I'm just devastated, but I still get the work done. And you could see it hanging heavy on me. And then you know, it just slowly gets better, and it gets better, and it gets better. And I just want to tell everyone who's going through that, because I'm in love with love. I'm a one-woman man. I'm a family man. I want to fucking only be that way for the rest of my life. But it is so fucking difficult. I don't know how the fuck you guys did it. It is so difficult. It is the most difficult thing I've ever been through. But anyone who lost someone, build yourself for the next person, or even you could get them back. I've had it happen and seen it happen many times. Just really don't give up on yourself at that point. And realize someone like me gives a fuck. And you could reach out to me, because that's one of the things I have a lot of heart for, is when people lose relationships, because that's something that I cherish the most. I don't know how you guys did it. How'd you guys do it? Let's ask that.
16 years. Well, we did. I left him
No,
twice.
but
I left him twice.
She left me. She left me.
Because in the beginning, I didn't really understand, because I was working at Neiman Marcus. I was doing makeup. I didn't own a business, and he was up there printing fucking orders all night long, and we would never spend any time together. I'm like, what is the point of being in a relationship if there is not one? So I left the first time.
26 or 27 years old too, and I was like, hey, I'm building my business. I was like, I love you, but I was like, I have to do this, and I don't want you to leave, but I'm not going to change my goal.
And I also thought I wanted to date somebody who had more of my personality. I wanted someone who was go, go, go. I love to travel. It was like wanderlust, go everywhere all the time. I traveled the world, mostly alone or with girlfriends or whatever. But I finally realized I cannot date myself. Too type A for that. And, you know, the reason why him and I get along so well is he's the yin to my yang, and he doesn't fuck with me. If I'm upset about something or he knows I'm having a day, number one, he's my biggest cheerleader. He's always coaching me on, you know, always like, you know, you can do anything, everybody else, no one else is going to do what you do. Keep your blinders on, keep looking forward. But if I'm having a moment, he doesn't poke. He says, you know what? You're not having a good day. I'm going to go over here. You do your thing. You have your
how long
moment.
when she's having a day is like that refraction rate to where she's good again?
But because he's not fucking with
fine.
me,
Yeah.
it's when I'm in relationships with people
hours.
more like me that want to poke back or like, you know, be passive aggressive. I cannot handle passive aggressive. That's what makes me charge, and I go harder. And I can go real fucking hard. You can't outdo me in a fight. But him and I just don't fight. We've, in 16 years, maybe been in like 2 or 3 small fights. I mean, not even compared to probably what a fight is to a normal person. But it took me a long time. It took me, you know, 2 times of us breaking up for me to realize, like, he's perfect for me. He's my best friend. I enjoy being around him. We get along so well. We can talk business.
See, people love this stuff, because why are we even making the money in the first place?
Exactly.
Why are we going to the gym in the first place? For you. Like, guys go to the gym.
Oh, he's
and
not
guys,
going. He's not going for me. Don't.
Guys go to the gym and,
Don't let him fool
they
you.
make the money to have a wife and a life. You know, like, that's why they're doing it. He's not doing it to just sit there by himself with a pile of money on his abs and shit. They don't do nothing for him.
I don't know if Sean would care, though. I don't know if if something ever happened
Again,
to
a
me,
lot of
I
it's
don't know if he
mindset,
would
so
really care.
I'd be working out
He
the
just
same,
likes the way
but-
it makes him feel, and so that's why he stays on track and
I always
eats
did
really, really
everything
good.
for my future family. I always wanted to be such a provider, because my dad was like the most manliest motherfucker. Like, he was a killer. Like, this dude is 6'5", like 290, like 22-inch arms, like veins. Like, he's just the manliest dude ever. Like, they don't even make dudes with hands like his anymore. His hands are so fucking crazy. You'd be like, what the fuck is that? Just mutant shit. But he never figured out the money. He never figured out the money, and that was just the thing that I had to figure out. I had to figure out how to be rich, because we weren't poor, but we were lower middle class. But the money never made it to the end of the month.
Yeah.
It just never did.
Yeah, that's kind of how we grew up too.
Yeah,
I think that was my motivation.
Isn't
I
that
knew
the worst feeling?
I knew I didn't
just
belong there.
You don't know what the fuck you got. You don't even know. You have no security. You know.
I remember I watched this movie. I think it was not Fatal Attraction, but the one with the girl uncrossed her legs on camera. What was that?
Basic Instinct.
That's it. I watched that movie and I was just like, that I don't belong here where I'm at. I don't know why that movie was the thing. My parents always let me watch whatever I wanted to watch, but I was like, I don't belong in suburbia playing darts and drinking beer in the garage. This is not what I want. I think I was asking earlier if you were born
my
this
God,
way.
yeah.
I was like this as a kid and never really felt like I could be a part of that or live forever like that. We were also very lower middle class. Sean.
So it makes me a little nervous now for our son. Like,
Yeah.
I would be super pissed if he
Yeah, what are you
going
gonna
to
do?
his hand out. Like,
you have a daughter now,
I'm
so
not gonna
how
let
are
that happen.
you going to make sure that she's not a do nothing bitch?
Yeah, I have two. One of them's 15 months. The other one's like 12. But yeah, it's. I always tell them they're worth it, so I give them everything. But I really just we haven't got to the point of like having to correct behavior too much, and it's so new. I have to just kind of tread lightly because I've stepped in on some situations and spoke in a way that kind of caught everybody off guard. But that's how I grew up. Like, no, you're not going to be disrespectful. You know, you're told not to be a certain way. And it's going to be difficult. I'm just still playing it by ear. It's still so new. I have to check it out. But I'll still always give them everything they want. And then, it's just, I just have to. And then, I'll lead by example. We don't drink. We don't smoke. There's no, there's always workouts, personal development, it's energy. It's like we live a certain way where that should hopefully be enough guidance for them to still make their own mistakes and you let their conscience guide them. Cause I really don't think if you step in and you start like telling someone how to be, I don't think you rob them of their lessons. Cause I really believe God is gonna be the ultimate deciding factor of when they change. So like, when their conscience steps in and tells them they're wrong, they can finally learn their lesson. But if you step in and you yell at them, then you're almost the scapegoat for them not to learn their lesson because they're like, no, he's a fucking asshole. Instead of like, no, I messed up. Like, I can tell I'm wrong. And that would be like their internal notification.
Well, saying that you're, what's the word for that? Saying you're disappointed in them is so much more triggering than the yelling because it makes them want to do better. My dad always yelled at me. I could never do anything right, which is I have daddy issues because of that, but I wouldn't be where I'm at today if he told me I did everything right. It was always me trying to prove to him that I could do it.
I always trip on how people think all these things are so bad, like their issues or their traumas or
I don't dwell on it. I don't dwell on it. I feel like it makes me who I am today.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. What would you be if you just completely got your way and there was never a problem? How weak would you be? How spoiled would you be? Is that someone you really want to be? No. Like the problems make us. Problems are gifts, and I mean they provide pain, but then when we solve the problem, that's when wisdom is earned, Wisdom is pain overcome,
Sean says that. He's like, that's not a real problem. Let him
Yeah.
have a real problem.
I know
Let him
what-
come into my life.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
know
even
what
know
real
what
problems-
real problems are. Like people are like, they're like, this is an
Listen
issue.
to one
I'm
of
like,
Sean's phone calls. That'll be a real problem.
Yeah. Well, he knows what real problems are. He doesn't
Yeah.
have them anymore. It's like when people come to him and they're like, I have this little problem. You're like, that's not a fucking problem.
That's one of the greatest
Dude, you
gifts
can-
I can give people is
yeah,
the
you can
fact
fix that.
I can have them be aware of how minuscule their problem is. Even though I just said I have so much heart for people going through a divorce or a breakup, I literally tell them, so you mean to tell me you're all distraught about the most common problem on the planet? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're experiencing the most common thing ever.
Yeah.
You're not the only one going through this. Everybody you walked by on the street today has probably been through a divorce. Get the fuck over it. And they're like, oh, that does make sense. And then they look at the world differently. They're not isolated. They're not sitting here saying, the world owes me. And they really start to realize they owe the world in turn what they want.
Become a better person. And then hopefully the next person they meet, it'll work out because they're that better person. I think that's a huge deal too, is people let themselves go.
Expectations are just the basis of future resentments. Like, don't even fucking have expectations.
That's why I don't either.
Yeah,
I'm the
just
same
wake
exact
up
way.
and be the best you can be,
Yep.
and like let it go as it goes.
Yeah, I don't set many expectations for myself or goals or even for my team. Just get out there and do your best every single day. And all of this stuff is going to come naturally when you're putting the effort towards it.
I guess to close this out, what would you tell somebody that just can't get off their ass and
I always tell them that
and they need to make a change and they're like, okay, what do I do first? Like, where do I need to go?
I always tell people what their purpose is and what your purpose is what all of our purpose is on this planet is to create the best version of ourselves and give that person to the world. So, I mean, you have to be honest. Like, create the individual you admire in all ways and give that person to the world. You have a purpose everywhere you go if that's what your intentions are. So even when I could be feeling alone and I could isolate myself and stay alone, or I could realize that's only for people who are truly alone in life, or just judgmental people. Because there's plenty of people who want your attention. You just don't want to give it to those people. So once you start to wake the fuck up and realize that, no, I'm a gift for the world, I'm an offering, I'm going to make myself so valuable to any table I sit at that I'm just going to go out and like affect the world in a positive way. So like in all reality, I just go give everything I learned every day to everyone, and it makes me feel better. That's really what my goal is to walk that hero's journey, come from point A, really low point A, to where we are now, high ass point B, and teach people how I did it. That's really what I believe our life is. And go back into like times way past now, you know, to where you're like, back in the day, it was like, what did you do? You went and handled everything in your life. You come back and bring back the knowledge to your tribe of like your day. And I just don't understand why everybody overcomplicates all this shit. It's basically like you have two forms. You have the physical activity, like the daily work you do, and then you have your people that you converse with. So I tell people like the two ways that you're going to separate yourself from the pain that you're experiencing is peak physical performance, where no negative internal state can coexist during peak physical performance, and then becoming the source of what you seek. So what we're doing here, sharing knowledge to then give people strength, give people wisdom, give people belief, inspire them. And so in turn, what you give them is what you give yourself. I just don't even, I don't know why people are so fucking like resistant towards the uncomfortable work that they know made them feel good yesterday to do it again today. So like they knew it worked yesterday when they got up early, did their workout, ate a certain way, and they did all this shit. They know it worked so good and it was such a good day. Why the fuck did they not repeat that day? Like, please just repeat that day.
I don't understand that. I don't think like that. That's what I say.
Says that to me every day.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like, just that day was perfect. Repeat it and add to it a little sliver until you just have a bulletproof day.
Well, I hope that people can see past your tough shell of an exterior here.
Oh, yeah,
and
we've
know
done
that
it.
you do have a good message. So however they want to perceive it, you do have a good message. And if anyone listening today is kind of, you know, like you said, they haven't left the room in 4 days because their wife left them and they're feeling really down on themselves and sad, make yourself better, make her regret ever walking out.
Yeah, I mean, their perception of me is your perception of me is a reflection of you. And that's just what it is, you know.
Thanks for your time today.
Always.
Yeah, thanks, Wes.